So I've been asked a couple of times what deck I'm playing right now. I play a lot of best of one, just grinding the ladder. Oh, and I have already messed up. So let's get back to the actual deck list first. It does have a sideboard, but I don't really, it's kind of just a pieced together sideboard right now. So the deck I'm playing is just a red-black aggro deck for Gutter Bones, because as it turns out, Gutter Bones is one of the best aggro cards in Standard right now. If you're playing a black-based aggro deck, enters the battlefield tapped, you can return it to your from your graveyard to your hand if your opponent has lost life this turn. Next one's Grim Initiate. 1/1 first strike that replaces itself is pretty good. Shock for early game threats. Play against a lot of other aggro decks in best of one, so it's always good to throw a few shocks in there just to get rid of those early game creatures. Eternal Taskmaster is one that I'm just kind of toying around with for just the best of one format. This would probably be like a Lightning Strike or some other burn or removal spell. But the attack and pay 3 later game, if you get mana flooded and some of your other creatures get removed, tends to work really well. Dreadhorde Butcher is great. If it hits a couple of times, it turns into a Lightning Strike if they kill it. Granted, unless they use Vraska's Contempt or something like that. But 1/1 haste for red and a black, and whenever it deals damage to a player or planeswalker, which is kind of important to put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then when it dies, deal damage equal to its power to any target. So you can target a planeswalker, you can target, basically anything else that's on the battlefield. Fireblade Artist is also pretty good, because later in the game you can use Fireblade Artist in the beginning of your 2/2 haste, beginning of your upkeep, sack a creature. When you do, he deals 2 damage to a target opponent or planeswalker. So you sack a Dreadhorde Butcher, hit somebody for 5 or 4 or 5. He's worked really well for me so far. Death Baron to make your Dreadhorde Butcher, Grim Initiate, Gutter Bones, and even Eternal Taskmaster bigger, and give them Death Touch, because it turns out that Death Touch with Dreadhorde Butcher, you block, say, a big creature with first strike, it kills Dreadhorde Butcher, you've still got that Death Touch, that can still take out that creature. Krenko is really, really good. I'm almost to the point where it sort of feels like when you play him, it pulls a removal spell out of your opponent's hand, because they have to answer it quickly or he gets out of hand really, really fast. But he kind of sometimes feels like a bit of a win more. I don't know what I could put in the place here, but again, this is just kind of testing. Light Up the Stage is great. You've got a lot of things that are going to be attacking really early, so Light Up the Stage is great to kind of refuel your hand a little bit. Skewer the Critics. It's 3 damage or it's essentially a lightning bolt in this deck, because you're always going to be trying to deal damage with your Dreadhorde Butchers, Gutter Bones, stuff like that. Judith is another kind of an anchor to the deck. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, she deals 1 damage to any target. So it pumps up your Krenko tokens, even though they don't get the benefit from the death trigger. But, you get, Judith and a Death Baron out, you're pretty much at the point of guaranteeing yourself, or guaranteeing putting up a W on the board. Neheb Dreadhorde Champion is currently a, for lack of better phrasing, a placeholder for another Rekindling Phoenix. I don't have the Mythic wild card right now to get another Rekindling Phoenix in the deck, because I was stupid and did not buy get Rekindling Phoenixes. But He's pretty good. He gets the benefit of the Death Baron, so he turns into a 6/5 with Death Touch and Trample. Excuse me. If you do have a bunch of dead cards in your hand, which honestly with this deck there aren't that many dead cards, but if you do have some dead cards in certain games, you can, like when he attacks, you can sack them, or not sack them, discard them, and draw that many cards. And add some mana, so you can use some of your red spells to... he is probably going to leave for something else, whether it is a Rekindling Phoenix or another card. I will show you the sideboard, like I said, and I'm going to change my card back right now because I got that sweet, sweet Soul Ring card back. I'm going to show you the sideboard, and like I said, it's just a placeholder sideboard right now. Spark Harvest, because destroying a creature, Planeswalker for 1 mana. Yes, it is sorcery speed, but Spark Harvest, as it turns out, is really good with Dreadhorde Butcher, or even Gutter Bones, because you can recur Gutter Bones later. Cast Down for other creature like if you're playing against big creature decks. Plague Crafter is great, creature or Planeswalker, and if they don't have any creatures out or Planeswalkers, they discard a card. It's great. Tibalt. The only reason Tibalt's in here is one for the memes and stuff like that, because the old Tibalt was bad. This Tibalt actually has a use. Its static ability isn't bad. Playing against white-based life gain aggro decks, you can kind of curb their ability to gain life for a little while, and then he puts a target on himself, so they have to get rid of him, or you can create the little red devil tokens that when they die deal a damage. Ashiok is... I honestly don't know why I put a couple of copies of Ashiok in here, but that not being able to search their library for cards takes care of... There's a new... one of the planes with Tameo that you can search up. There's the Simic Nexus that they search up Nexus with Tameo. It stops them from being able to use that ability. And then you can mill them, which is not something that I care too much about, because hopefully by turn 3 or 4 you've got them at a dangerously low life total. I threw Demon of Catastrophes in here because a 6/6 flying trample. I don't know if this should take the place of, or one of them should take the place of Neheb. I may actually try that right now and just see. I might actually bring down... I think I'm going to try this right now. I'm going to bring down an Eternal Taskmaster. I'm going to bring down Neheb. And then I'm going to take both of these out. We will search up Neheb again. And we'll put two copies of Neheb in the sideboard just to take place of the sideboard. And I'll put the Demon of Catastrophes in there just to see. Because a 6/6 flying trample for 4 is difficult to deal with. It, again, sucks up a removal spell immediately, or it should. So we're going to jump into... I'm going to play one game of Best of One here, just to kind of show you what the deck hopefully does, and see how we do. I am currently... I am not sure where I would go to show you that right now. Well, you'll see it before I think I'm gold 2 right now. I've done pretty well in Best of Ones with this deck. It's not perfect. It does get kind of steamrolled by big creature decks sometimes. But it's a fun deck. When it does really, really well, it does really, really well. So we've got 2 Gutter Bones and a Death Baron in our opening hand, so this is pretty much a guaranteed keep. Opponent goes first, and they started off with a tap land, so that's perfect. I am going to take the shock, because that's the only way to get a creature out on turn 1. And then we'll have a Gutterbones Shock. Yeah, Gutterbones Shock. Seems like a good play right now, because he'll have to... Yeah. We are going to go the Gutterbones Shock route. And he can hit who he wants to. I should have probably attacked first if I'd not been stupid, but it is what it is. Okay, so normally what I would do right now is I am actually going to play the Fireblade Artist. I would play the Death Baron this turn, but I kind of want to see if he's going to take the damage or if he's going to block with Gutter Snipe. He's going to take the damage, so we're actually going to make Mr. Snipe go away, because Gutter Snipes are disgusting. And I'm okay with him wasting a... That's even better. I think I am just going to go Death Baron, because again, pulls the... pulls a removal spell out of his hand. Hopefully I can refuel my hand here soon, but this is not the perfect hand at the moment, but it's getting better and better as we go. So we are definitely going to swing. And get our Gutterbones back, and play Mr. Bones. Yes, we are. Is it Freeze goes Hellbent, but so he could, like, I kind of figured he was going to skewer the critics right there. And we're kind of getting... I'm going to keep the mana in my hand just as a... to maybe pull like a drill bit or something out of his hand. We'll just keep swinging. This isn't the perfect way for the deck to run, but it's... I'll play Dragonskull Summit.
Are you sure you're ready to face me? Oh, this is going to be good.
So this actually might just be game here, depending on what we're going to completely ignore Jaya Ballard and try to swing through. Because we've got a lot of cards in our hand, and then we got a Skewer the Critics and a Shock. So we're going to Skewer the Critics, Shock. So a lot of the times the burn spells do end up being just a win more type of thing, but so far it's gone pretty well for me. I think I'll run one more just to see if we can get a bit better of a game to kind of show off what the deck can actually do, because that was more of a slow run for it. I mean, we still got the W, which is great, but... And this was... It started out as a Mardu Aristocrats deck, which I can show you. So I'm really hoping, looking at this hand, that we get another black mana. We've got Gutter Bones and to light up the stage on turn 2. So I think I have to keep it. Just because that refuels the hand, and it'll make it a little bit easier to get that. And we got a Rekindling Phoenix too, so we'll see kind of what our opponent decides to do here and go from there. Okay, so we decided to play the Deep-Root Elite, which he's probably not going to risk getting killed already. If he does, then he does. I mean, but... And now we play the waiting game. Sorry about the background noise. I am checking stuff on my phone really quick while I wait for whatever my opponent is going to do. I thought about turning this into like a straight up red-black, like Aristocrat style deck, but after playing a couple of games with it, the aggro side of it is just so good. I hope we don't just get a random W out of this. I want to actually play a match of the game. I mean, I'll take the W, but... Okay, so we're going to light up the stage. That spectacle. See, and like we didn't get the land that we wanted, which kind of sucks, but we've got a turn 3 Dreadhorde Butcher, which is effectively a removal spell by itself. I don't hesitate sometimes to play the Dreadhorde Butcher into what I can only like figure is going to be a removal spell, because the Dreadhorde Butcher is just so good, has so much of an upside. I don't know if our opponent has either timed out or is just not playing. And if we get this W without actually playing a second, or having a second turn, okay. So he's probably going to swing 3. Yep, that's fine. So I think... I don't know if this is going to be where I think I want to get the Dreadhorde Butcher out so I don't lose it. Because the worst thing that's going to happen right now is we bring this guy down if he blocks. Which I don't think that he will, because he probably wants to keep his Mistbinder to buff up his hold. I'll take that. And then next turn we'll play either our Blood Crypt into Death Baron, or this is getting a little bit out of hand on the I think Death Baron might be the right way to go, because I can keep Gutter Bones up, or I play Rekindling Phoenix this turn, which Rekindling Phoenix is just great. So we're going to play the... I think Rekindling Phoenix is the play here. I may be wrong, but right now I have not drawn any other 2-drop creatures. and I'm not going to push any more damage. I think I want to have things back to block. I'm just hoping he doesn't cast something like Sleep, or there's the Water Tap Weaver. That's kind of the one that I was worried about. So I have to block this one, which is fine. And this is not turning out the way that I wanted it to. I mean, he stopped playing, but I just don't have the gas to kind of compete with what he's doing. So we're gonna just give him the win and try one more. Did make me a little bit angry that we got that many just not dead cards, because they're good cards, but I think I have to relook at the mana curve and see about getting a couple more lower cost creatures in and figure out which one of the 3 drops that I have. See, this deck, or this hand, is solid. I mean, he goes first, but we've got Swamp Mountain, Blood Crypt with Gutter Bones and Grim Initiate and Judith on turn 3. So I think probably what's going to happen is my turn 1 is going to be Gutter Bones, and then, but we'll kind of see what happens to start off with. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to take the shock from the Blood Crypt yet, because that would leave up. Because turn 2, that would leave up. It would be Grim Initiate Shock, which is good, depending on the type of deck that he's playing. But we'll see what he's playing, and then that's how I'll make my decision. Joey Pokey Aim. Okay, so we played a tapped Temple Garden. So I think Blood Crypt is the way to go. I hate getting shocked early, but we also have Dragon Skull Summit up for our second land next turn. And Tithe Taker is fantastic, or is a fantastic one to... So I'm going to try to swing through Tithe Taker and see what he does. Okay, so he's just going to take it, and we will get Tithe Taker out of the way, just because Tithe Taker can ruin a game really fast. Just that little bit of... Okay. We're going to go... I think we just have to play Judith and swing away. Because it's either he blocks, which is fine if he doesn't, and then we'll bring up a Grim Initiate. He's probably going to tap down this. Dang. History of Benalia is gross. Turns out this card is good, and we're kind of getting the great part about where we're at right now is that with Judith sitting back, because I'm not going to play Judith, or I'm not going to attack with Judith, I'm going to attack with and then I'm going to skewer this guy away. Because if he kills... Okay, that's fine. If he kills any of these creatures, I just get to machine gun things down, which is why Judith is so good. It does mean next turn we're probably taking a large amount of damage, but let's see what he does this turn. Because I'm going to kind of force his hand. Because he's going to have to. Yep, which I figured. Okay, that's fine. See, because Judith represents 3 damage. By herself. So we're going to light up the stage and see what we get. Because if we get a burn spell, the game's over. And we got a shock. So we're going to... I'm going to preemptively say GG, but he could have something to keep me from... If he has a Revitalize, fantastic, good for you. But, I mean, that's what this deck does. If you let it... If he had blocked, it would have... You know, he would have lost a couple of creatures. But... It's a solid deck in best of 1. I'm going to play around with it to move into traditional ranked and just kind of see what happens. Since I'm already sitting here, before I end the video, we're going to open up a pack. Not sure what I need right now, so I think we're just going to open up a pack of War of the Spark, because why not? Because more War of the Spark cards are good. And worst thing that happens is we get a... Oh, Soul Diviner. Soul Diviner is actually not a terrible... I'm actually contemplating a deck with Soul Diviner and the Amass mechanic. Because you can amass... You get, like... What is it? Dreadhorde Invasion and Soul Diviner, as it turns out, are pretty good. You get your... You draw your card, or you put the +1/+1 counter on your zombie army, and then take a counter off of it to draw the card. And then I don't know if like the proliferate mechanic would work in there very well. There's not a lot of, except for the land that proliferates. This dude is really, really good for mana fixing in limited, because you've got a 2/3 Death Touch lifelink, which is pretty close to, I don't know, a shoot, what was his name? Can't remember his name. He's a vampire that's Death Touch lifelink flying, and he's a 2/3 for 3 and was really solid. So 2/3 for 3 with the upside of mana fixing is pretty good. Narset, not that big of a fan of blue, but Narset is really, really good for like a spells deck. She might fit into like a Jeskai deck that plays some feather, because you can refuel your hand, but I don't know. The other decks that I have going, I'll show you the Mardu Aristocrats deck really quick. The original red-black deck too, but let's... So the original, or the Mardu Aristocrats deck that I'm kind of playing right now, I need to change around some of the cards, but because I think that the better choice for some of them are, I have them sitting in the sideboard right now. I think Ravenous Chupacabra is better than like Final Payment. Conclave Tribunal's great. Krenko, actually, it might take the place of Krenko. Plague Crafter is really good with like your recursion from Sorin. So I have the 4 Gutter Bones, which are just fantastic. 2 Tithe Takers, because slowing down your opponent is great, and them basically not being able to cast things on your turn is fantastic. Priest of the Forgotten Gods is an amazing card. I actually need more of them, which I will get eventually to finish out the deck. But Priest of the Forgotten Gods sacking 2 creatures to make each opponent sack a creature and lose 2 life. The nut play is like a couple of Gutter Bones, Priest of the Forgotten Gods, because you tap and sack the 2 Gutter Bones, get the Priest of the Forgotten Gods trigger, get the 2 black mana, which you can then use to return a Gutter Bones to your hand because your opponent lost life, which will trigger off of, or they will lose life off of Cruel Celebrant, which is another one of those fantastic. Blood Artist was good, so Cruel Celebrant's going to be good. And it's got the upside of having 1 power instead of being a 0/1 like Blood Artist. Again, Dreadhorde Butcher. I need to get more black and white mana, so I need more Godless Shrines and Isolated Chapels to even out like the mana base to make it cleaner, because that is kind of what's causing some of the issues with the deck right now, is that I can't get the right combinations of mana every time, so I end up getting mana screwed on one color quite a bit. It tends to be red more than anything else, because I don't have a ton of red. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5 things that cost red mana, and the rest of it is black and white. But it always seems like I draw one of the red mana like creatures and then not, which is strange because I have 8. I think I may. We're gonna see what happens if I drop. I'm not gonna play the deck right now, but land. We're gonna drop a Plains and add a Mountain just to see if that helps a little bit for right now. Like I said, I'm not playing the deck too much at the moment because that red-black deck is doing so well for me. Sideboard, 3 cast downs, 2 Legion Warboss, because Legion Warboss is Legion Warboss. I don't know if that's actually the right thing to have in there. Ixalan's Binding is great because you make it so somebody can't, you take away an important spell like a Ravenous Chupacabra or like God Oketra or God Eternal Oketra is really good. I haven't actually gotten it into the deck yet, but playing a Gutter Bones, getting the trigger off of God Oketra or God Eternal Oketra, and getting the 4/4 is good. Lyra for control, I think, is what I was looking to play that against. I could be wrong. Liliana is great. Whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. With all of the recursion and sack effects that I've got in the deck, she's really, really good. Ravenous Chupacabra. It's murder on a stick. I mean, you can't complain. But that is the other deck that I have really liked playing. And then I have the base of the Jeskai Heroic deck. I'm missing a very important part of it. Burning Prophet is taking the place of Dreadhorde Arcanist, because the recursion off of Dreadhorde Arcanist is really good. And this is another one where I'm a little short on the colored mana. Actually, I'm a lot more short on the colored mana because, as you can see, I don't play blue that often, so I don't have a lot of the blue-based shocks and stuff like that. But it is what it is. It'll get there eventually, but that's it. Thanks for watching me act like a fool and play some Magic. If you enjoyed it, come back and watch it again. Peace.